Welcome! In today's video, I will be explaining how to calculate weighted averages to determine final grades using Google Spreadsheets. These are the functions we will be applying today to complete our table. Nested if function is Google Sheets' Excel way of saying if something is true, do this, otherwise do that. Average formula adds all your data, then divides by how many depending on that of, thus getting the average of your data. Sum function just adds up all the numbers you have selected. Our final formula is basic multiplication. The symbol used is called a markdown and is used to multiply your selected data. Next, we will set up our table. I have chosen to customize my table to colors that I see fit, as you can too. Yellow for categories and the number of each assignment, green for average and weighted averages, purple for final grade percentages, and finally red for the final letter grade. Keep in mind when making your own table to leave column B open, and the number of categories should be the maximum amount of assignments you may have. Now is when you will enter your own personal data. This includes the weight of your categories from each different type of assignment and the grade for each assignment. Our next step will be to calculate the average for each category. It is here we will use the average function. In cell Q2 is where we will plug in the average function and add a parentheses to signal the beginning of our range. In our parentheses, we will plug in cell row C2 all the way to P2 by highlighting them the way I am now using your mouse and pressing enter. We then plug it in for the rest of the Q column. For mere preference, you can make the percentage of the average a bit more legible by using the toolbar up here and this option here. This adjusts the percentages. Here you can see the formula in each row because we applied it to them, and their final display with the percentage changed. Now we will begin to calculate the weighted averages using multiplication. In column R, we will implement our function and signal that by putting the equal sign. Then we will select Q2. Then add the multiplication sign and multiply that by the weight of each category from B2. We then press enter to finish the equation. Highlight the equation to apply it to the rest of the column by moving my mouse to the bottom right corner where a symbol appears and drag it down to use it for the rest of your column. This is what your table should look like after adjusting the percentage and after applying it to the rest of your column. Here is where you will begin to calculate final scores using the sum function. In cell R6, we will enter the sum functions by highlighting rows R2 to R5 and adding them together. This is what my final grade percentage looked like because of the sum function we used. Now we will begin by assigning a letter grade by using the if function. This is where we will plug in the if function in cell R7. Here is the function displayed largely at the top and bottom inside of the actual Google Sheet. After pressing enter, it leaves us with the letter grade based on the input entered. In conclusion, here is where and when we used our functions average, multiplication, sum, and if function. This displays each formula we used and how they were implemented into the table. Thank you so much for watching. Mahalo!